Hello. Caught me playing with a bit of wood again. But I forgot to film all of this. Yes, hello. Thanks for dropping in. I'm having a little bit of a play around at the moment, he says, trying to do several things at once. There we go, overhead camera. This is what I've got on my lathe at the moment, and it's not much of a project to look at because I've done most of the turning and the texturing. In fact, I think I want to thin that down a bit more. This is an old friend, isn't it? Clyster medium. Haven't used this for a long time. Helps paint to get a little bit of transparency. So I've got on here a piece of tulip wood that I've turned and I've textured with the Simon Hope texturing tool, the large texturing tool, the fine wheel, and I have put on here some chestnut ebonizing lacquer, and I am now going to flood these grooves with gold paint, trying to get it down in there, mixing with the black to give a nice, interesting, rich textural look. Oh, doesn't that sound tempting? Most of it will get sanded off. It's down into the texture, so it needs to go. Otherwise, it's all going to disappear when I sand it. But it's one of my preferred methods of working. You've seen it before. Bit of texture put on, some colour added, sanded back, reveal some bare wood, colour that in a different way. I'm going to splodge some around here. It might not make it into the final finished version, but I'll see how I feel. I think I've got a bit carried away. Do you know, I think the only bit I like is the bottom. But it's not showing it so well in the picture. But very nice sort of mottling of colours that the white's done, where it's picked up the stains from the side and mixed with the gold. The rest of it, blah, dog's dinner. Well, clearly it's been too long since I filmed one of these. Because I just did a load of talking to the camera without any recording button being pressed. But this is what it looks like now. Oh, yeah. The only bit that was worth keeping as far as I was concerned was the bottom. The rest of it, dare I say, I'd overworked somewhat. Shock horror. shape wise, not exactly where I want it, but I'm all about the colour, aren't I? Sanding time. So the method is the same as I've done on the bottom. I'm going to put some ebonising lacquer on first, which seems, why would you do that? Are you going to put stain over it? Well, it works so nicely on the bottom. Might work, might not. Do I care? No. So I've got my rich gold paint and my Clyster medium, and I'm just going to paint that all over. I think what I did before was to pat it dry, so I think I'll do that as well again. It's all very well having harebrained ideas and they work once by accident. Do they work again? We're about to find out. Right, I don't want to take any more off because I want it to show through. Right, so a bit of yellow going on first. Goodness knows what this is going to look like. Yeah, I can see it over the gold actually. Let's give you an overhead view. Probably see it there. So here's somewhere where I haven't put it on. This yellow gun is getting rather gunked up. And we'll need some cleaner put through it. Some meths or some thinners. The orange has run out and I'm not sure I can be bothered to refill it, so I'm going to skip that bit. After all, yellow and red makes orange. Here we go. So that definitely also shows up over the black. And we might think, well, how is that happening? Well, I guess how it's happening partly is to do with the gold. Do you know, I quite like the look of that as it is. Classy. But you know I'm not going to just leave it like that, don't you? Oh, yes, you do. You know me so well. I can't remember. Did I put more gold paint on? Let's put a bit on. Just because I've got it in the pot still. I might have done, I might not have done. I could just look back at the footage, but I'm not sure I want to. This shouldn't move the stain beneath it because this is water based. Shouldn't. I hope you're paying attention to all of the different steps and taking notes. That's really quite an attractive looking finish. But I am going to put my white on. White spirit stain. Here we come. Will it happen twice? So what it seemed to do is pick up a bit of pink, bit of blotchiness, bit of splodge, bit of bloom. Now, I don't like where it looks a bit distinct and splotchy so much. It will dry, of course it'll dry, and it will change appearance. And that's really not quite enough. I mean, that has transformed it. It may have made it better, it may have made it worse, but it's certainly different. Could I have got this effect another way? Do you know, I really don't know. Some of the papers sticking. Oh, that's quite interesting. Scratching through it. Oh, that's the problem. I should really use safety cloth because it doesn't disintegrate in the same way that paper towel does. And I've just poured white stain all over my hands. So we've still got gold coming through. More of it. Look, I'm getting more of a mix rather than the big blooming patterns of colour. But you come here, don't you, to see what madness I come up with. It's reminding me of a demonstration I saw from the wonderful Mr. Ed Oliver with water-based stains, where he coloured the inside of a bowl with water stains and then put the white stain over. That really has completely transformed the look of it. Did I put gold paint on afterwards? Again, I can't really remember. But as I've mixed up so much of it, I think I will. I mean, remember it's transparent a lot with all the clyster medium that's been added to it. And this might just sit in some of those gaps. Bring a bit of a sheen in places. So the gentlest of little tiny tappings with this, just to lift some of it off. Not completely remove it. So I'm going to leave that to dry and then put some more lacquer on. Definitely prefer that to version 1, which I did completely overwork. Although you can get some very nice spirally effects. These are the ones I may have mentioned earlier on. I can't remember if I was talking to a non-filming camera at the time, that I did for the Woodturners retreat that I'm part of, a group of turners from the UK, the United States and Canada, who we've been doing for 2 years now, online Zoom events, 2 or 3 a year. Next one is coming up in December. But here's one I did, spiraling, a little bit a little simpler colouring. It's got bits of fluff stuck on it now because it's been kicking around in the workshop. But that was fun. And one I want to have another go at. I quite like this sort of rough, unsanded feel. Not so much a spiral as a very shallow series of grooves. But the spiral one, oh, that was good fun. Oh, that's probably the best bit round there. Well, I hope that was a little entertaining interlude while we wait for the paint to dry. Which it hasn't quite done yet. So I guess it's going to need a bit longer. But look at that lovely sort of mottled, cloudy, almost space-like nebula dust. If you do want to fill in some time while this dries, do a quick Google search of Tony Laverick. You'll see where I got the inspiration from, the shape, and probably some of the colour as well, actually. Although he blocks his off in different patterns, squares, rectangles of colour. I'm tempted to mask some off and put some bits of black in, but I don't know which bit I would want to spray over, so perhaps I won't. Here we go with the next coat of lacquer then. So this will help just smooth the lacquer out. It's had two relatively thick coats on. So this is a mildly abrasive liquid. Wipe it on. I want to get the lathe moving while it's still wet. And spinning at reasonable speed, but not so fast that it gets too hot. Or that it drags the paper. So it dulls and then the shine comes back. There, can you see that shine working its way up to the top? Fresh bit of the bit of safety cloth. Bring the speed up. How well did I protect my chuck? Better than normal. But the poor jaws have not too bad. Hope it will grip on the jaws. Yes, it will. And it runs relatively true. So I just want to cut in from this edge, lifting the handle as I go. Now slow down before you get to the screw hole, because you're liable to just fall into it otherwise, like that. Core blimey. Blimey? Core blimey. Something else finished. Complete with little dents. And oversprayed lacquer there. But I'm not too concerned. What I was more concerned about was recreating what I liked on the original bottom of the first iteration of this little bowl. I'm really quite pleased as well. Up here there's a dark line appearing, friction burn really, from when polishing up that edge to mirror the one down here. It's not perfect, it needs a bit of attention, a few lines in the lacquer. Oh, maybe 4mm thick at the bottom. I was a bit worried about going through it. If you were very eagle-eyed, you might have noticed that the foot was a little damaged. But I'll leave you to work out what happened. It's a bit dusty inside. There you go. I will take some still images. I think they always come out a little bit better than what you see on the video here. But certainly got a nice shine, nice sort of depth to the colour. I'd like to bring the shine up a bit better. A couple of marks here where it had a little bit of an accident. But apart from that, this has been a fun afternoon in the shed. And I haven't had one of those for a very long time. Thanks for watching.